As Iran opens a direct line of contact with a key U.S. ally, is Tehran quietly sidelining Donald Trump in the search for de-escalation and a new balance of power in the Gulf? With Trump ramping up war talk and missiles flying again, are spooked Arab capitals now rushing to pacify Mojtaba in a last-ditch attempt to stop the region sliding into a wider conflict? After a first round of brutal exchanges, do the UAE and Iran holding their first direct talk signal that even frontline players now want to step back from the brink? With Qatar already in quiet contact and now the UAE joining in, are Arab states increasingly choosing to talk directly to Mojtaba rather than rely on Trump to deliver peace? As rumors swirl of a secret $3 billion cash airlift, is the Gulf now asking whether hard currency is being used to buy calm from Tehran and freeze the next wave of strikes? Amid fresh missile fire and mounting threats, one of Trump's core Gulf allies in Iran are quietly testing a risky new thaw, gambling that dialogue might succeed where deterrence has failed. Senior security officials from the UAE and Iran held their first in-person meeting on June 11th, opening a direct channel at the very moment the region is bracing for wider war. Sources quoted by Bloomberg said the talks marked a sharp turnaround from months of confrontation, reflecting a shared recognition in both capitals that commerce ties are now a strategic necessity. UAE leaders are said to be focused on shielding their oil, AI, and financial megaprojects from war-related disruption, fearing that another major strike could undermine years of investment. For Tehran, the Emirates remain a vital trade partner and sanctions lifeline, making stability with Abu Dhabi crucial to keeping Iran's battered economy and regional networks afloat. Since the war erupted in February, Iran has pounded UAE targets with nearly 3,000 drones and missiles, turning the Emirates into one of the conflict's most exposed front lines. At the outset, the UAE adopted a hawkish line, reportedly urging Saudi Arabia and Qatar to join a joint response to Iran's attacks before the costs of escalation became impossible to ignore. Abu Dhabi is now pivoting to damage control, concentrating on limiting further economic fallout and security disruption at home as investors watch the crisis with growing unease. Notably, Iran has not fired at UAE targets since the Baraka strike, a pause that coincided with advancing ceasefire contacts and hints that Tehran is testing the value of restraint. Tehran is reported to have made several attempts to restart high-level dialogue with the UAE, signaling that Iran also sees managed ties with Abu Dhabi as strategically important. Yet Abu Dhabi held back, delaying serious engagement until it was sure that any Iranian envoys at the table were plugged directly into Mojtaba's new power structure in Tehran. A quiet channel is understood to have reopened after a phone call between Sheikh Mansour and Iranian Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, giving both sides a political cover to talk. A visit by Crown Prince Sheikh Khaled to meet Xi Jinping in Beijing reportedly helped open the diplomatic door further, with China nudging both sides toward a more pragmatic accommodation. A UAE official told Bloomberg that Abu Dhabi's policy is now guided by de-escalation and reducing tensions, a clear public signal that survival, not symbolism, is setting the tone. All this is unfolding as media reports flag an unconfirmed $3 billion cash transfer from the UAE to Iran, raising eyebrows over what price, if any, was paid for quiet. Some reports claim that physical cash was flown from Abu Dhabi to Tehran on a private commercial jet, suggesting a discreet, high-stakes transaction far from public view. The same reports allege that a UAE royal jet landed at Tehran's Mehrabad airport on June 9th, right in the middle of airspace restrictions, adding to the mystery around the trip's purpose. High-level Emirati officials were also reportedly present in the Iranian capital at the time, fueling speculation that the visit went far beyond routine diplomatic business. The report hints that any such cash transfer may have been linked to an understanding to halt direct Iranian strikes on Israel, though none of the parties have confirmed any deal in public. Qatari negotiators left Tehran on June 11th after talks continued until the early hours, according to AFP. A diplomat told AFP that discussions were held in coordination with the U.S. and focused on de-escalation measures. The talks reportedly ended with the Qatari delegation departing Iran, while hostilities were still ongoing on the ground. This came as CNN reported that the U.S. and Iran are on track for a potential deal following overnight negotiations. Diplomatic sources told CNN that efforts to reach a preliminary agreement intensified significantly in recent hours. Iranian sources also told Reuters that discussions included a possible pathway for the release of frozen Iranian funds. The diplomatic push comes as the U.S. and Iran exchanged air attacks for a second consecutive day on June 10th to 11th. Pakistan's foreign ministry said it remains engaged with both sides in an effort to help facilitate a possible settlement. Officials described the situation as fragile, but said diplomatic channels remain active despite continued escalation. The IRGC warned that any move threatening security in the Strait of Hormuz would not go unanswered. Iranian commanders said the strategic waterway remains a critical red line for Tehran. IRGC vowed to turn the region into hell for any country seeking to make the Strait of Hormuz unsafe. The warning came amid growing fears of a wider U.S. Iran confrontation across the Gulf. Sayyid Majid Musavi said, and I quote, "Are you trying to make the holy Strait of Hormuz insecure? We will turn the region into hell for you from across all of Iran." This is Iran's response to the Americans' audacity in the region. God willing, unquote. The warning came on June 11th, just hours after U.S. forces carried out a new round of strikes targeting locations in southern Iran. Tehran condemned the attacks as another act of American aggression and accused Washington of deliberately escalating the crisis. Iran's military leadership said the latest U.S. operation crossed a new red line and warned that further action would invite a stronger response. In retaliation, Iran's top military command announced the complete closure of the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most strategically important waterways. The decision threatens global shipping and energy markets, placing a vital maritime choke point at the center of the growing U.S.-Iran confrontation.
The central headquarters of Katamal announced, in continuation of the hostile actions of criminal America, and in light of the beginning of attacks by the aggressive military against certain areas in the south and Hormozgan province, effective immediately and due to insecurity in the region, the Strait of Hormuz is declared closed to the passage of all vessels, including oil tankers and commercial ships. And any transit through the strait will be targeted. The United States' claim regarding ship passage through the aforementioned strait is denied.
The Revolutionary Guards warned that any ship attempting to challenge Iran's restrictions in the Strait of Hormuz could become a target as tensions continue to rise. Tehran also called on oil tankers and commercial vessels operating in the Gulf region to remain in place, citing growing security concerns. The warning comes after President Trump threatened additional military action against Iran if ongoing negotiations fail to produce an agreement, underscoring the deepening standoff between Washington and Tehran. As tensions intensified, Iran's military announced a new wave of retaliatory operations targeting American military assets across the region. Iranian officials said the IRGC carried out coordinated strikes against at least 18 U.S. military targets following the latest escalation in the conflict. Tehran described the attacks as a direct response to recent American strikes on Iranian territory, warning that further U.S. military action would trigger additional retaliation.